Hello, everyone. Professor Philip Travis here, and it is week 8 here in History 448 here at Eastern Oregon University, the history of modern Russia. I am going to make this announcement a little bit brief this week. I know sometimes I get a little bit long-winded in my announcement, and I've been sharing maps and these types of things, and this week we're going to go a little bit brief. I'm hoping that everyone is really getting to working on their papers. Everyone should have received their feedback from me on their paper proposals. So I hope everybody uses that feedback to develop the best paper possible. Please, if you haven't watched my video that I put out there on paper writing and research, please watch that. I'll make that available again in this week's module. I kind of walk you through, some pointers on doing research online, including using our library databases. So if you haven't had a chance, I really hope you will, because I think it will really help us writing the best papers that we can. This week, we are going to be looking at Nikita Khrushchev and the 1960s. It's not only going to be Khrushchev, though. A lot of emphasis this week will be on the development of the Berlin Wall, on the Cuban Missile Crisis, and these types of things. So we will be looking at that this week. I also have a documentary on the Cuban Missile Crisis that I want everyone to watch. There's a little quiz associated with that. The documentary is a BBC documentary, so in that sense, it does feel a little bit Western to watch it, but it is very much trying to look at it from the Soviet perspective. It's definitely trying to incorporate the Soviet perspective, and in addition to that, it does have interviews from individuals who were in Russia at the time of the Cuban Missile Crisis, so that's why I think it's valuable for us in this class right now. So the 1960s, the Soviet Union in the 1960s, Nikita Khrushchev. We are reading from Service this week, chapter 18 and 19. There's also a supplemental reading, and I think you'll really enjoy the supplemental reading. It's in PDF form. It's not too long. It's in PDF form. It's in modules. There's going to be a short reading quiz on that. The video quiz for the Cuban Missile Crisis is basically watch the video and give me a little summary of what you thought of the video. The quiz on the supplemental reading will be a reading quiz, like a reading comprehension quiz, like we've had in the past. So it's not a long reading. I think you're going to find it very interesting. So there will be a quiz on that supplemental reading. It doesn't include the service element, 18 and 19. It just is the supplemental reading. And give me a day or two to get that quiz sort of, because I always change these types of things, and sometimes I use new readings, sometimes I develop different quizzes, sometimes I add questions, change questions. So give me a day or two to get that quiz finalized for you. Let's see. I have a lecture, as always, this week. The lecture is on Cuba, Khrushchev, the missile crisis, the Berlin Wall, these types of things. Sputnik is in there, Eisenhower, the U-2 spy overflights. So I have a lecture this week, as always, on the various crises of Khrushchev, I guess is what you might call them. All right, factoid for this week. I said I was going to promise I was going to make it brief this week, so I'm going to follow through. The factoid for this week is this. Both Joseph Stalin's daughter, Svetlana, and Nikita Khrushchev's son, Sergei, both migrated to none other than the United States. Svetlana, I believe, died in Wisconsin, and I'm pretty sure Sergei became an American citizen and died in Rhode Island. I believe it was Rhode Island. Both have passed away now, obviously. But it's an interesting sort of narrative here where, on the one hand, we have this story about the standoff between East and West, and the sort of fundamental inability for the Western world and the Eastern world, the American side and the Soviet side, to sort of get along. But nonetheless, you see both, arguably the two most significant Soviet leaders, Joseph Stalin and Nikita Khrushchev, and both Stalin's daughter Svetlana and Nikita Khrushchev's son Sergei would eventually migrate to the United States. And in Sergei's case, he became an American citizen. I can't remember if Svetlana actually became a citizen or not. But both ultimately came to call the United States home, and both died in the United States. So that's the factoid for this week. Send me that no later than Wednesday by midnight. Email it to me no later than Wednesday by midnight. Let's have a great week. Keep on working on those papers. Let me know if you have any questions. Tests are all graded now too, so if you have any questions about that, let me know, and I will see everyone in the discussion forum.